Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Preservation Resource Center's evening class tonight. We are happy to host you for a tour of La Posada en la Antigua Cárcel, or the inn at the old jail. We're very excited to be hosted tonight by Liz and Raul Canache at their amazing renovation in the Treme on St. Philip Street, a circa 1902 jail and police station and patrol station that is now an incredibly beautiful renovated inn that serves people all year round, traveling from all over the world. My name is Danielle Del Sol. I'm the director of the Preservation Resource Center, and I'm so grateful to have you tuned in tonight for our presentation. Before we get started, I need to thank those of you who tuned in. I need to thank the donors and the members of the Preservation Resource Center. In this unprecedented time of a pandemic, a global pandemic, a time we hoped we'd never see in our lifetimes, here we are. The PRC has been able to pivot to virtual programming thanks to the generous and ongoing support of our wonderful donors and members. Membership starts at $35 a year. You get 9 issues of Preservation in Print mailed to your mailbox, free or reduced ticket prices to our events, to our merchandise. It's a wonderful opportunity to support the city you love with the architecture you care about here in the city of New Orleans. So I hope you'll consider becoming a member if you are not already one. You can easily sign up tonight at our website, prcno.org. And of course, remember to follow us on social media if you don't already, on Instagram and Facebook. We'll brighten up your day every day with wonderful posts and interesting information about what's going on in our historic neighborhoods across the city of New Orleans. I also want to thank our most generous sponsor, Stephen Richard Barnes, who has made so much of our virtual programming possible through a generous donation this spring and summer. Thank you, Stephen. And I also want to thank Louisiane Tea. I've got 2 of my favorite flavors here. Louisiane has been a long-term sponsor of the Preservation Resource Center, including this very difficult year for us. We're so grateful to them for their support. And it's just very lucky that we have such a delicious supporter. I've been enjoying my Louisiane tea all year long. So thank you to Louisiane. And I hope you all will go out, get yourself a glass of iced tea. I have mine in my beautiful PRC Mignon Faget glass. If you are interested in these glasses, you should visit our website, prcno.org. We have lots of fantastic merchandise for sale. You've got to check it out. We have glasses, tote bags, t-shirts, the whole shebang. So check it out. Before we get started, we have a little bit of business. You can see us, but we can't see you. So if you want to talk to us, submit questions through the Q&A button at the bottom or in the chat. I'll be monitoring and I can answer your questions as we go along tonight. Liz and Raul will give us a tour. We can step in during the tour and ask questions, so send your questions as they come to you, or we can also ask questions at the end, save some time to ask them some questions at the end. But feel free to communicate with me through either of those buttons, the Q&A or the chat button. I'll be monitoring them throughout. And so without further ado, Liz and Raul, thank you so much for having us.
Well, you're welcome.
Welcome.
I guess we should start by saying that we are in Treme, which is our neighborhood. Anybody that wants to know about Treme, just find it in a book or online, and you can see the entire history of our neighborhood. But this is, like Danielle was saying, the police jail and patrol station of Treme. They started building this building in 1898, and they finished in 1902. And if you can follow us, we can show you the inside. All this is original. That's Carrara marble, and it's original for the building. Everything outside is pretty much like it was, including the lamps. These lamps were converted to electricity at some point in time in the 50s, and then we converted them back to gas when we bought the building from the city. Come in. So, police jail and patrol station, Treme. And as you can see, we call it the inn at the old jail.
It is the only jail we recommend you stay in New Orleans.
Well, we are at the Sally Port. Every jail in the United States, the main entrance to the jail is called the Sally Port. So this is our Sally Port. To the left, we have the reception. All the brick that you see is original. Everything that the building materials came from Great Britain. The bricks came as ballast for the boats, and they would sell them to the penitentiary system here in the United States. And most penitentiaries in the south of the United States are built with this kind of brick. Right? The wood comes from here. All this wood, everything that you see built in wood, we built here. And these are the beams from the structure that we were able to take down. And from these beams, we ripped them and we built all the doors and everything that you see in wood. Okay? Just to let you know, you're standing right there where the brick is. You're standing on the brick. That is the original brick of the building. All right? And this brick will go all the way down to where they had the horses down there and the carriages. All right? Talking about the horses and the carriages, let me show you this. These are the carriages that would come into the building, and they will come right through here. And this is one of the bricks from the floor, and you can see this is very heavy, and you can see the indentations from the wheels of the carriages. All right. Oops, sorry. I'm gonna have some. So just to let you know here, just to show you something that we may find interesting. This is how we got the building. You see these pictures here? This is how the building, how we bought it from the city in 2013. We bought it at an auction, and you can see what kind of shape it was. So it was a lot of work. It took me 3 years to go from there, from what you see in the pictures to what you see today. Okay, so we'll show you here. This is a kitchen. We built this kitchen. It's a commercial kitchen. It's certified as commercial. We do not serve breakfast or anything like that, but we allow people to use it. You can come in with your family and use this kitchen and use the refrigerator, the freezer, everything that we have. You can use. We cannot serve foods because the city does not allow us to cook for our guests. It's a weird situation.
We do provide coffees and teas, fresh fruit, usually some kind of bread or other, but we cannot cook.
Let me show you this area here. This is as it was in the 70s. Actually, this cement was poured over the bricks in the 70s to make it handicap accessible building. This back here, it was open to the elements. On the left, they were parked the carriages, and on the right, we had the horse stables. So if you come this way, I can show you some pictures here that will show you kids in the late 1950s, early 60s. This jail was converted to a community center. You can see a bunch of kids there. You can see the windows.
And that was during the time that it was still a jail.
Right.
So we had a neighbor come in and said that he remembers taking an exercise class here in 1945. And then his eyes got this big and he goes, oh, and the jail cells were right there. Yeah. And you can see the bars still on the windows.
Yeah, let's go back here. This is interesting. This is saying. You see these bars over there? Those are original bars. And there were 2 cells. You can see the shades on the wall, the division where the both cells were. The actual stairs to the jail, which is in the 2nd floor, are right here. And you can see the shade, there on the wall. You can see where the stairs went. All right? But I'll show you that area in a little while. And that's how they brought the prisoners. So they would park the carriages right here, then bring the prisoners here, put them in those 2 stalls, and then they would, classify them, I guess, and bring them up to the actual jail. And this over here is what I was telling you on this slide. It's where the horses were. So the stables. This room and the next room were one at some point in time, and that's where they had all the horses. This is all original. We built all this wood around the beds. We actually put up. And when you see that the wall,
The shutters.
the shutters, when you see the shutters, there was an entrance to the actual cage, which is where they used to have the drunk tank and all that. I will show to you in a few minutes. Okay? You follow me this way. Oh, I can tell you, but all the rooms, if you look at the doors, if you point to the doors, every room in this place is named after a cop that was killed in the line of duty or worked here. Officer Robinson was, you can tell them about Officer Robinson, you know more of the story.
Yeah, Officer Robinson, I actually got to speak with her. She was a young lady with a bachelor's in psychology, which even today you can do nothing with, and couldn't afford graduate school. The NOPD had recently started hiring women, and she thought they will pay for my graduate school. So she came on, and her first assignment was here in this building. It had just become a community center, and her job was talent shows. So she took a flatbed truck into every neighborhood in the city and reached out to all the little kids in the city. She stayed 30 years with the NOPD because she had a good experience.
Let me show you the other rooms. I'm going to show you also our little police museum. You know, this is one of the few U.S. southern cities in the U.S. that doesn't have a police museum. And when we bought the building from the city, the cops were really excited about us. They wanted us to succeed. They wanted us to actually try to bring the neighborhood back, help the neighborhood coming back. And they wanted us to start a little museum for them. And this is it. They actually brought everything that you see, the guns and all that down there, with the exception of those down there. They were brought by somebody from California, park ranger, was down here. And these are first district, all the guns and the shackles and all that. And if you look up here, these are patches from the cops that have stayed with us. Most of what we get as guests are police officers, military, and law enforcement. That's most of our guests come from that group of people. And this is our, like I told you, this is the officer house. He also worked here. We actually met him a couple of years back. He was like 90 years old, and he was the first officer friendly.
Yep.
You can tell him about it too.
Yeah, so his job here was during the community center as well. And he was the first officer friendly outside of Chicago. It was a program just started in Chicago to help alleviate the race riots and things. And he thought that was a great idea. So he started that program here, and he's still just a wonderful, elegant gentleman. We were so happy to meet him.
Yeah, it's a quality.
And he let me leave his name on the ground.
Well, actually, the names, like I was telling you before, the names were provided by the cops themselves. First district, they have to ask the families whether they would agree to let us use their names. And talking about that, this is Natasha Hunter's room. Natasha Hunter was the last officer in First District that was killed in the line of duty. We met her. She was one of the officers that was in charge of giving us the names for the rooms, correct? We were ready to open the inn, and she came in on a Friday afternoon, and we were talking about the room that didn't have a name. Sadly, on Saturday, she was killed, and her family allowed us to use her name for that room. So that's a sad story, but at the same time, it shows you that, how fragile life is for the officers in the city, and for, it's just a sad story.
Yeah. But it's a way that we can help keep her memory alive, which is what we wanted to do with the officers killed in the line of duty, and the ones who did such wonderful things for the city.
Also, this is our community room. Sometimes when we get a bunch of cops together, they just lay around here, drink beer, and talk about life and different things. If you can see that, that's the only TV we have in the entire place. We don't have TVs in the rooms because of the police officers. They don't like to have a TV in the room or a radio, and I can understand why. And this painting here belongs to the building. But when we bought it from the city, actually there was all kinds of addicted people living here in this area. And there was an addicted lady living here with a 4-year-old kid. And she painted that back there where the clock is. That's her 4-year-old kid. And when I saw it, I took it out of the wall, cut it out of the sheetrock. And I asked her when she get better to come back and finish it. And she hasn't gotten better, but the kid is in better shape because the city is taking care of, or the system is taking care of it. Right?
But we keep a good eye.
Yeah.
I love it like this. I just want her to sign it. So either way, finished or signed, you know
Right.
she is free and clear.
Let me show you, as we go down here, let me show you the second floor where the actual jail was. Right? Oh, let me tell you something about this. It's interesting. See all this iron here. This is not steel, it's iron. Right? This is from the structure. Actually, we took all that iron down and I wanted to use it structurally. I mean, I would save some money that way. But the city did not allow me to use it structurally because it was actually made around the same time that the Titanic was made. And it was made by British Steel. And you can see the holes here. You see, that's where the rivets were. So any welding that you see, I did. But originally, it was just iron with rivets, hot rivets. All right? So we used it just for show. This is not holding anything. This is not structural. It's just for show, but it belongs to the building. Right? I told you that the wood came from the building. Oh, I didn't show you this. You see this where we have the pots and pans? If you take a look at it, I don't know if I should
Let me turn that
light on. Yeah, maybe you can see better. Look at it.
Yeah,
That is actually the bars from one of the windows. This is from the bars that would be on the window on the stairs where they would take the prisoners up. I took it down and I decorated it a little bit and I made it. But it is, but
He
it is.
used everything he could.
But it is the original bars of a window. This way, I can show you.
This doorway was actually opened in the 70s when it became a community center, and they made it handicap accessible. They had a big old ugly ramp right here. We got rid of the ramp, but we do have handicap everything down here. But the entrance to this side of the building was either through the outside front door or through the stables. So we're very glad that they had made this opening because it makes it very convenient.
Here, the rail, that rail that you see up there, that's the original rail. That rail was over the Sally Port there in the entrance. I took it down and we built this door. And that's the division between the two sides of the building. And this is totally right. This is iron that is original from the structure too. I took it down and I used it here just to cover the area.
He said it made it look more jail-y.
Yeah, right. Now this is interesting. This we found in the trunk tank, and I'll show you where we got it from. This actually, the back of the jail was built in the 70s by the cops that used to work here. And if you see it closely here, the director, Yvonne Bechet, she was the last director of this jail. Mm-hmm. And Ms. Bechet was the first female Black officer in this city. And she was the first sergeant, first lieutenant, first captain, first everything. And she retired actually as being deputy chief. No other woman has attained that rank. But the interesting thing is that she, at the time, they didn't want her in the force. So the only thing they offered her right after she graduated from the school, from the academy was to be in undercover narcotics officer. And they thought that she would either get tired or get killed and leave. She actually lasted 3 years undercover, and she was very, very successful. And that was at the height of the heroin war here in New Orleans. So that's how she got to be so high in their, structure.
Yeah. I don't know if you can get in close, but that's Miss Bechet right there. The little one.
And this is an officer friendly right here.
That's Officer House.
Officer house. Okay. Teaching kids at school. And this is
The talent show truck.
right. Now let me show you the trunk tank.
First, let's talk about the cage.
Okay.
When we were first in the neighborhood and trying to renovate this, we'd have the neighbors, the older neighbors, come in and they walk in this area and they go, "Oh my God, I got thrown in the cage." Every time. So I had two questions. Number one, what is the cage? And number two, did they mistreat you? I was very nervous that there would be a bad history here. There was no bad feeling, but I had to know the truth. First off, the cage was an actual physical cage that was for children that were misbehaving on the street, fighting or getting into mischief, and their parents weren't around. So the police would throw them in the cage until mom or dad came to pick them up. Were they mistreated? Not one person gave me a bad review. None of them were. They laughed about it. This is actually a gentleman that we met just recently who was picked up in the 60s, which was, in fact, a bad time all around. He was picked up for loitering, and his best friend was dressed up like
Black Panther.
Like a Black Panther. And so they got picked up for loitering, and he said, and I was, oh, Lord, that was a bad time. And he said, it was totally unjust, which it was. But all I did was sit on a bench over here. I never even got into a cell. His wife had brought us his picture. So when we were giving him the tour, he's, "Oh my gosh, that's me." So that was so much fun. So yeah, I never got a bad story.
And it's happened a few times. There is a picture over there I didn't show you. But in the 60s, they used to have a bike registration.
Division, bike registration.
And a lady came by. She used to live in I think it was the 50s. About 2 houses down, and she wanted to see what we did with the building. And we were giving her the grand tour, right? And then when we finished, we stood on the side there, and she started looking at the picture. And then she says, "Oh my God, that's me!" And that's her. The picture of her there standing. And I'll show it to you when we come back.
She has a copy. So we named this room the cage. I actually threw my mom in here for a month. It did not reform her, and no one came to claim her, so we had to let her go.
This is the cage.
She had it all decorated up so cute with flowers and all. But this is my favorite room. This room has 3 sides of solid brick. And so it's very quiet when you first step in here. It makes for a really peaceful night's sleep.
Well, the whole building is quiet because the walls are 3 feet wall, 3 feet thick, I mean, they made this thing for people not to escape, So it is actually a pretty quiet place, the entire thing. And right over here is the cage.
No, the drunk tank.
I'm sorry, the drunk tank. The cage and the drunk tank.
Now, this was the entrance into the drunk tank from the stables. So you'll see it. And you can see where we cut out part of the doorway that they had made. That was the plaque that you saw out there. So they would bring them in here and they just let them sleep it off. And if you look on the walls, if you were here, you could look and you'll see scratching on the wall. I had a police officer ask me, what the heck did they leave sharp objects? The reason is they were drunk. They were sleeping it off. They were not criminals. We have, if you look up here, Rover, you can kind of read. Most of them you cannot read. I've read a Mark and an Earl, but we had a guy that we're pretty sure he came every Saturday night. Remember, this brick is like stone. Check out how BP got his name in that brick. Charles spent some serious time in the drunk tank. If anybody watched the old Andy of Mayberry, you would put him right up there with Otis.
So what was it? We get a lady that comes every year. Channel 4 brings her here. She's a medium, and every time she comes, she finds another ghost. We haven't seen any, but Charlie is supposed to be one of those that live here, and that he spent every weekend here in this drunk tank. And there's another ghost that she found. It's supposed to be an officer, a sergeant, that is watching over everyone. I tell you what, I worked here day and night by myself, and I've never seen anything. But you know, I always feel that somebody's watching over me. So I always, you know, I'm working and suddenly I see something going by. Oh my God! But really, I haven't seen anything. And like Liz says, maybe we have the Holy Ghost here, not not a bunch of crazy ghosts.
That goes spooky. Yeah. This is our library. We got this at an auction, and I loved it so much it was totally not playable. But one of our neighbors decided he wanted to fix it up. So we actually had a concert pianist from France play this for us. We've had guests from over 50 different countries, but we love to have musicians. We had a young lady from Hawaii that played the bagpipes. That was fun.
She would wake everybody up in the morning with her bagpipes, and the neighborhood just loved it.
And they'd all come over
Yeah.
to see it.
All the furniture you see is furniture that is time period from the 1890s. The furniture we bought in different places here in the city, most of this furniture nobody wanted because it was in pieces. So we bought them in pieces and we repaired everything, we restored everything, and used it. But you know, some things were real cheap, but now after we restore them, they, you know, make some money out of it.
We named this library for Yvonne Bechet, and we have her story written up here. We were really blessed to be able to give a reception for her. They had written a play about her life, and they performed it here, like a trial run, and then had a beautiful reception for her. And I just feel so proud to be among the few.
And we actually had an honor line for her with all the district commanders came, and they did an honor line for her, and she came with Joe Walker. You know, she gave him a hard time. But you know, they can't take anything from her because she's a special person in this town. So she can do anything, and she does no wrong. At the time that when they had the jail active here, they actually had a desk here with the sergeant, and the sergeant would receive anybody that would come in walking through here, and anybody that would come on the carriages would come in through the other door over there. Yeah?
I want to make one comment. Raul did an amazing job, But if a renovation is difficult on a marriage, this wall was it for our 40 years. This wall took a year to build. This is a 1-hour fire-rated stairwell. It's by law. And you will not find a code book in this country that allows those windows. But he was not bending. And he brought the fire marshal in here, and the two of them designed those so that it passes code. Even though it's not in the book, it is safe.
Yeah. Same thing with the doors. The doors, I wanted to build them. I wanted doors that would look time period. And we don't find anything like that. So we actually built them here with the wood that we rescued from the building, and we built them, you know, to meet code. So they're 2 inches thick, and they're supposed to support 60 minutes of fire. And all the glass is also 60 minutes rated. Oh, this, Liz can tell you about it.
Oh, that was an expenditure. My husband went to auction, and the agreement was he couldn't bid on anything. He would buy it when people didn't want it. So I didn't go with him that day, and he bid on it. And he wrote a text to our daughter, "Look at what I got. Don't tell Mom how much I spent." And he copied me on it. So, you know, I'm a
By accident.
soprano in church, and I hit those high A's really easily. But it turns out it's worth a whole lot more than what we spent on it.
And I love
So
it.
he's okay. I'll keep him.
And besides, you know, the rest of the stuff that I bought, it was so, you know, it was cheap stuff. I mean, I had to fix everything and restore everything. So that's the most expensive thing that we bought.
Yep. At nighttime.
But you see mirrors like this. This mirror is Parisian. It's from Paris. It was in pieces. The original mirror is here. And this, I think I paid $80 for it, but it was in pieces. Because when people go by, these things are auctions, they want it to be perfect. I wanted everything to be imperfect in pieces because I could offer it, and then after nobody wanted it, you know, and they would usually sell it to me for, you know, very good price. Okay, let me show you as we go up.
Now here you see the police tape. You might have seen it in the back. We have it on the refrigerator. This tape means different things in different places. Our guests are not supposed to use this store. And we would tell them, I didn't want a big emergency only sign. And Raul came up with the idea of using the police tape, and it works like a charm.
Yeah.
So the police tape here means don't use this store unless it's an emergency.
Yeah.
On the refrigerator, it means don't eat this food unless you put it in here. So,
Okay, these are the stairs to the second floor. Like Liz was saying, this is a 60 minutes fire rated stairs. It's like a tunnel. Everything is double. The sheetrock is double. I mean, you got all kinds of different things that you have to do to make it code and legal. And then we have also the fire sprinklers. Everything is fire sprinkler to the building. So it is a pretty safe building.
Yeah.
And to the point that the fire marshal says that we are probably the safest building in town because they threw everything at us. I don't know how we survived, but it took us 3 years to do all this. I'm sorry.
this is what the staircase looked like. And the reason I bring that up, yeah, okay, it's horrible. But this is why Raul fought for the windows. That is a dark tunnel, even if it were in good shape. And by having the beautiful windows, it just opens it up.
Of the what do you call it? The handrails. Of the two handrails, this is the only original one, the one on the right here, on the right. We copied this type of design, and we built everything to meet that design to look like that. So it's very simple, and all the ironwork is done just to to be as simple but practical.
See how pretty?
These are the sub blocks, and if you have any weapons, you can come in.
Or candles.
And the mold. This is the cell blocks. This was open. I mean, there were no walls here. The walls I built, all right? But it was just one floor. And let me show you the male area of the cell block for the men and the cell block for the ladies, all right? Here's cell block B. This is the men's area. And what they did is that they had a huge cage in the middle here. They had a huge cage, and they would pack up to 20 guys in here, right? These are the original windows. So I imagine they would open the windows, but there was no ventilation or anything like that. So imagine 20 guys in here. It would have been crazy. Everything here is original. The walls. You can see this, the ceiling. It's a very simple thing. What they did at the time is that they took a drain pipe. They would cut a third of the drain pipe and then put the beams on the sides, sit the drain pipe or the third of the drain pipe on top of it, and then pour 2 to 3 feet of cement on top of it, and that's it. So you're standing on the same thing that you're seeing up there. It's the same thing. So you're standing on the same thing. And I know it's 2 to 3 feet of cement in some areas because I had to drill
For plumbing.
for plumbing through this.
Yeah. Yeah,
And this is our bathroom. This is the bathroom for this
that's a typical
Traditional-
bath.
typical bathroom. Again, everything is time period.
This is the room where I like to call it our family room. We've had families up to 5 people in here, a grandma and grandpa, mom and dad, and a child. But it's also the girls' weekend out room. He gets nervous when that happens, but we'll have up to 7 or 8 women between the 2 cells, taking the whole floor, and we'll just close the fires.
Yeah,
So, yeah. let
Well,
them
you
have
know,
their space.
we've been open almost 3 years, and in the almost 3 years that we've been receiving guests, we haven't had one bad guest.
Yeah,
Always
no,
been
they're
always
awesome.
wonderful people.
He always gets nervous, but
Yeah,
there's so much fun.
But to the point that we have made some great friends. I mean, we get all kinds of gifts and cards and things from people that have stayed with us, and they become not only friends but also, you know, close to family. Some of them, and they come and you know, over and over. They stay with us, so they're repeat offenders, and we bring them in. Let me show you the female area. Okay.
Now, this room seems smaller, but we can put 5 people in here very comfortably as well.
Each one of these windows was a cell. So each one of these windows was a cell, a female cells. All right. This first one over here was a insane cell, and when we broke through the wall, we found the bars, and those are the bars for the insane cell. All right. Now let me show you the bars for the female cells, which are these ones. I don't know if you can see them. All right.
That's half the size.
I think if it was now, they would be suing the jail because of some kind of discrimination there. Look at this, the diameter of the bars there. I mean, you have to be crazy to go through that. All right. And remember I told you that the stairs will come up from the kitchen over here? This is the area where the stairs will come in. And you can see here, let me move this and let's see better. You can see where the slate is. By the way, this slate is from our roof, and I'll tell you all we got here a little later. This is exactly the area where the stairs will come up, right? I was talking to a female sergeant. She's a historian here. And I was asking her, you know, were people smaller at the time that this was such a small area? She says, no, Raul, you got to remember that this was built as a jail. And in a jail, you want people to be restricted at all times. So it had to be built like this. People were shackled, and they would brought up the stairs, you know, pushing them. And then there was a police officer standing here, just grabbing them. And then they would put him, if he was a female in one of the cells here, if he was a male, just put him over there. But they were restricted at all times.
Yeah, we wanted to return the stairs. They were removed at the time that they made this a community center. They erased the jail. And if the stairs had been here, we could have left them. But because they had been removed, they don't meet code. They have to be 3 feet wide. And so we could not return them. So Raul's idea of putting the slate there helps people to visualize just what it was. He had good ideas.
Let me show you the director's office or the commander's office. It was never part of the jail. This one over here. It was always the director's office or the commander's office. This one over here. We named it after Mayor Capdeville, which was, I didn't tell you that, but in the 1890s, late 1890s, they built 5 of these structures, 5 of these jails. I mean, this guy was really progressive, and he wanted them to be beautiful, so they all were gorgeous buildings. There's 2 of these jails left. The rest were torn down. And this one and another one in Magazine, that's 6th District, and they just decommissioned that jail last year.
2 years
2 years ago. So here is Mayor Capdeville's room. again, this was never part of the jail. It was always the administrative office. I have to say this, that I didn't mention in the beginning. When Mayor Capdeville built his jails, it was a one-stop service. They had a judge, they had a nurse, and cops. All right. This was originally the judge's quarters. All right. And actually, they would judge people here, and they would stay here for maybe a week at the most. And from here, they would be sent to an actual penitentiary like Hunts or Angola. Okay, that's the bathroom right behind you. This. I love this room. I threw everything I had left on it. Because at some point in time, we thought that we were going to live here in this room, or this was going to be our room. But then I decided that, we had plenty of space on our attic. So I took the attic and I reconditioned the attic, and we made a little apartment up there. That's what this is.
Now this room comes with a funny story. This room is the one that people will call me after they've made a reservation and ask if they can have this room. Because it photographs beautifully, it's beautiful, it's lovely. But this is the one room where you think you might have a ghost. And the reason is you might be laying there at night late, and all of a sudden a white light emanates from the walls, and you think you have a ghost. But what it is my husband took advantage of these beautiful windows, and our closet here would be the Black Hole of Calcutta without glass blocks in the wall. So when we have a guest here, we have to be very careful not to turn the light on in the closet at night, because we don't want to scare them.
That's right.
So yeah, no ghosts. You might think there is.
Liz and Raul, can I ask a question really fast? There's so much gorgeous wainscoting throughout many of these rooms, and one of our viewers is asking if the cypress wainscoting is original.
No, not of the building. And if you point the camera over here, this is cypress wainscoting that I was able to get from dumpsters. I did dumpster dives, and I would rescue this wood. A lot of people throw this wood away. I would just rescue it and use it here. This is some of the stuff that I didn't make. The ones downstairs, the side,
It's hard pine.
Is hard pine, and that one I built. This one I just, recuperated from dumpster dives.
That's amazing, Raul. That just blows my mind.
Yeah. All that is originally from some of that stuff is actually from the 40s, but I've got some wainscoting that definitely is from the 1890s.
If it's out there, he'll find it.
Okay. Let me show you. I'm sorry.
This shows you what this room looked like originally. And there you can see where we got a lot of the wood to do the reconstruction. All those beams had to be replaced.
All those beams were replaced with steel beams. That's what I did. I took the wood out and put steel inside. Replaced them.
Now, Raul had to build the back end of the jail again because the police officers, remember in the 70s, they built the back of the jail and it was falling down. So he tore it all down and we started from scratch, and he got the beautiful, bright idea that eventually the city might let him add extra rooms back there. And so he did a temporary idea back there in the meantime that he is not going to get rid of. So there will be no extra rooms here, and you're going to agree with me. Come see.
Oh, there was no door here. This is actually a window frame. I just converted it into a door. This window was.
Yeah, we had to get special permission for that door.
Careful with my chicken here.
That's our doorstep.
This is our.
So you can see why Raul's not getting to put extra rooms. I'm not giving up my bed.
under this
You
tree.
can see the bars
Oh, yeah.
from the windows better there.
We didn't know the bars were there. We just needed to open those windows back again because they were blocked over. I mean, they had cement
Bricked
and
them.
brick them over. And then when we broke through, we found the bars, and that was amazing.
That was a good find.
This is the last piece of wood that I had. I built this day. It was super heavy, but I love it. Interesting. And under that tree, a lot of people have gotten married. We had weddings right here, right under that tree. So,
That's Lorenzo. He's in the National Society of Oak Trees. So
what you can see around all that, those are police barricades. And the signs that you see are originally from the 1950s and 60s. Those are the signs that they had at the time. I wanted to buy these things used from the cops. And I actually went to the department. They said, would you sell them to me? And they laughed me out of there because I said, Raul, we don't sell these things. We don't want people to have these things. Because when we go out there, we pick them up. We don't want to argue with anybody about who owns what. This is ours. Right? But they did something that was very nice. They put me in touch with a guy that builds them for them. And he's been doing it for many, many years. And Mr. Wynn, I went to talk to him, and he was not convinced. And I asked him to come over here to visit with us. And he came and visited. And when he came in, he just fell in love with this. And said, man, I grew up in a place like this. He's like 90 years old. And he said, I want to participate in this project. And he actually built them for me because I have 5 different sizes.
yeah, like 4 or 5 different.
4 or 5 different sizes that we have of these things. And these are built by machines. I mean, you put the steel in one side and they come out on the other side like hamburgers. I mean, it's an amazing machine. But the thing is that every time that you do a different size, you have to retool the entire machinery. So his children hate me to pieces because he would have to retool for every one of my sizes. He would have to retool the entire machinery. So, but he built it for me, and he loves them, and I love it. The slate that I was telling you about is from the roof here. You see, this is not original slate. That slate is from Vermont. The original slate in the bathrooms and the floors and all that came from Great Britain. All right, and we had to replace it because I don't know if Liz told you about it, but during Katrina, a lot of our neighbors took refuge here on the 2nd floor. When they saw that the water was rising so high, they knew that they were in trouble. So they started looking for a place where to crash. Right? So they came to the jail. They broke through the door and they took the 2nd floor. And I understand there were up to 60 people here. And when the boats came to rescue them, there were dead bodies out there. The water was highly contaminated. And they decided not to take the guys like 20 foot. So there were 8 feet of water out there and 6 feet of water inside in the building. So they decided that they couldn't take the people to that contaminated water. So they had to keep them here until the helicopters came. They kept them here for 2 days. And when the helicopters came, they told them to break through the roof. There is a skylight up there. They also broke through the roof, right? And they broke a lot of that slate. And that's how the building got damaged. The building was not damaged by Katrina. It was damaged by our neighbors coming in and breaking through the slate so they could get out the helicopters to pick it up. To this day, our neighbors they have told us please they have a storm here. That's something that every year that door remains open pretty much months at a time. When those rains are coming, we just leave the door. So they're gonna come over here. This is the highest point in the neighborhood. Hopefully it will never happen. But that's
Now, something that we found when we came, first off, there was no staircase to the attic. You might have seen coming around, there's a staircase that goes up there where we live. We put that there. There was no staircase. So those guys had to find a way up there, number one. And number two, how are you going to break through all that slate? Well, when they got there, they found a shed with a ladder that went to a trap door, and so many of them were able to just get through that. But then, like you said, we found also broken areas. The thing that made me curious and made me start investigating was that trap door. Why did this building have a trap door on it? And through lots of investigation, there's not a whole lot on this building out there. I did find the original plans, and there was a clock tower. So the whole design, I wasn't even article saying that they needed to repair that clock. So it was built, and then a hurricane came through in 1915. So we're pretty sure the tower went that way because of damage that we saw on the roof when we were repairing it. And not being in the middle of the French Quarter, it was never put back. So our desire is to get maybe our architects to do us a drawing of what this building looked like because I mean it's beautiful the way it is, but I just can't even imagine. So that's my question.
Well, just to let you know how much has changed in the last 7 years we've been here. When we came here, this was there were a lot of very few people actually, and there was a lot of I think about 60% of the houses were blighted. And you can see that one over there, that's 1866. That belongs to a family, a Washington family, there were 12 children. That's one of the very few houses that's still blighted here. At the time, like I told you, 60% of these places were blighted. And we were the first ones that came in and invested money into this area. After that, people that had houses they came back and they saw that, you know, what we were doing. They started bringing money into their own houses and rebuilt it, renovated. And now their neighborhood is just a wonderful neighborhood. It's the best neighborhood we ever lived in.
Neil, can you please take Liz and Raul back inside? We're having trouble hearing them because of the wind.
We'll go back in.
There we go. We're inside.
So this is
Okay,
that
thank you.
added. But imagine being down here trying to get through that roof, and we dropped that a foot. So I don't know how they got up there, but they did.
Okay, shall we go downstairs?
As Liz and Raul are taking us downstairs, everyone, this is a perfect time to ask any last questions so that when they get down to the first floor, I can ask them anything that might be on your mind. So please submit those via the chat or the Q&A button.
These are the pictures that I was telling you of the lady. That's her. You see there? That's her when she found herself there. She was getting her bike license. And you can see this was late 50s, early 60s.
That's what most of the neighbors would say, oh, you bought the old bicycle division. That's what they remembered about it. That and the community center wanted to know if we were going to do the haunted houses.
So
we don't do that.
If they have any questions, we can answer them.
Thank you all so much. Raul and Liz, first of all, can you tell us your inspiration for why you decided to buy this building at auction? You showed us pictures. It looked pretty run down at the time. So what was the vision that could you foresee this incredible renovation in your mind?
Actually, we did not. Liz and I have been traveling through South America after I retired from a major multinational. And we decided, well, let's take our car and drive through South America. We did. We spent a year living in our old Suburban. And then, we put like 300,000 miles into it. And our daughter, our second oldest daughter, lives here in New Orleans. And we came here to buy another vehicle to continue the trip, do the US, then do Central America, and then ship out of Panama to Africa. That was the idea. And then our daughter took us around, and we saw this building. And the building, I fell in love with it. I actually went to school, we both went to school in California. That's where we met, UC Davis, and we got married there. But I learned English in San Francisco. And at the time, San Francisco had this beautiful Victorian houses that they were pretty much giving away. And, the only thing that you had to do was to make sure that you would have to prove that you could restore them. And we were too young. We were like 18 or 19 years old. We couldn't take advantage of it. So I always wanted to have a Victorian building. And out of the blue, we decided, well, this looks like a nice place for us to stay for a while. And we went out. We started asking what we were going to do with if there was something we could do with the building, and we found out that week they were selling it. They were actually auctioning in the city, and we found out when we were going back to Miami. We were on the road to Miami. Somebody called us and said, they're auctioning the place on Friday the 13th, 2013. Friday the 13th was the auction. So we turned, So we turned around on the highway and came back. We went to the auction, and we were the only ones interested in the place. Nobody wanted it. They tried to auction this place 5 years in a row. Nobody wanted it because it's a historic building, and people that wanted it wanted to put like a bar here or something like that. And the city would not agree with that, and least of all the cops. The cops would never agree with having a bar in this place. You got to remember that our police officers are a familiar thing. The grandparents were cops, so parents were cops, and now they're cops. So it's a traditional thing. It's a thing that goes through a family. So this means a lot to a lot of the police officers here. So there were so many restrictions that people did not want to get involved in. And we were stupid enough to get involved. So we were unopposed, and when we voted, that's the thing.
And thank God you did. We're all so blessed for that.
Yeah, I had quit smoking at the time, and because we were traveling all over in our car, and this would allow me to smoke, right? So I haven't smoked for a long while, and then we bought it on Friday the 13th, 2013, and then I came here on Saturday, on the Saturday after we bought it, right, which was the 14th, and I sat outside on the stairs that we show you out there. The beautiful marble stairs, and I bought a pack of cigarettes and I smoked the whole pack there, just thinking, what the hell did I do? I was a free man traveling all over the world, and now I'm here in a town that it reminds me more of Latin America than anything else. That's why Latinos don't like New Orleans, because New Orleans reminds us of where we come from, right? So most Latinos want to live in Miami and the big cities. And I thought, this the city was a dump at the time, but I could see that people were investing, that people were invested on the town, that people loved the town, that people were resilient, that they wanted to do something beautiful for the town. So I got caught in the spirit of the New Orleans, and culturally, New Orleans are very close to my own culture. So I feel at home here. I have never felt a foreigner here or different. I've always felt like I'm home here. They just speak English here, but the culture is the same.
That's so beautiful, Raul. And I love the visual, thank you, of you sitting on those steps just smoking and thinking, oh gosh, what have we done? It's so great. One of our viewers has asked, how did you all secure the funding for the restoration?
Honestly, no bank in town wanted to touch us. We had a sizable chunk in the bank. We had what we thought we needed to do the renovation, but we also knew that we needed backup. We found a small bank, First Bank and Trust, with a banker that unfortunately has moved to another bank, and I would love to get him back because he took our project under his wing and he did everything he could to make this happen. We just bless that man. He just came at the right time and he made it happen. And we're just so glad. And you know, this, Raul didn't mention this, but honestly, this is a project that we prayed before we jumped into. We honestly felt the Lord wanted us here. So when nobody would give us the funding, we just prayed, Lord, what do you want us to do? I mean, we are the proud owners of a very rundown jail. What do you want us to do? And he would open doors every time. But I'll tell you, we loved our banker.
And going back to the financing, that banker was able to get us the SBA
Guaranteed
loan.
loans. Yeah.
And thank God that he did, because if not, right now we would have to move out of here. The bank would have taken over the base. SBA is taking over. You know,
SBA has stepped up.
It's stepped up, and he's doing it with a lot of people here. If we didn't have SBA, we would have been gone. And still, I mean, the situation right now is tough for us, for all of us. I mean, 84% of the revenues this city makes is from hospitality, from the hospitality industry. So we are all hurting. And when we hear that, you know, that the unemployment thing is not going to happen, I can see my neighbors going hungry. If they don't get the money to continue here, I mean, it's going to be very, very hard for all of us, especially for our neighbors. People that work in, most of them work in kitchens. There are a lot of musicians here. And musicians and artists. They're the hardest working people in the world. Those guys work 3 or 4 different jobs to continue to be musicians. And the artists are the same thing. And those jobs are the jobs that are gone. Hotels, restaurants, that's gone. We don't have anything else. And Liz and I are the only employees here. And this is how we make money too. If something doesn't happen within the next few months, we're all going to be in deep trouble. I don't want to tell a sad story, but that's a fact.
It is. It's a scary time. And, you know, in light of that, we want to make sure that you all are supported. And I want everyone who's viewing tonight to consider Liz and Raul's Inn when you have family or friends coming to visit you in town. It's an amazing place to stay. Obviously, you guys got the firsthand tour yourselves. So Liz and Raul, how can people encourage their friends and family to book with you, or maybe consider staycation and come stay with you all? What's your website address? How can they stay with you?
Our website address is our name, in@theoldjail.com. You can book directly online, or you can just give me a call. My phone number is 504-301-5743. And we treat you like family. If you don't like to be treated like family, you might be uncomfortable. But if you want to be treated like family, this is the place to be.
Also, in that same website, the phone number is on the website too. On the website, we have about 300 pictures of, you know, the before and after. And you can see me there building stuff and screaming at people. You know, it was a fun thing too, also, because it was a clash of cultures there. You got to remember that most of the people that we used here were people that had been in jail, and it was ironic that the people that had coming out of Angola after 20 years being in jail, the only jobs that they could get was with me, because nobody would give them a job. So we had this guy that is a pastor, that his mission is to help these people that are coming out of jail. So I had all this jail ex-convicts working with me for the first time after 20 years of being in jail, all right? And then I had the Latinos, some people call them the illegals. I don't think nobody's illegal. No human being is illegal. So we call them undocumented. So I had these two worlds, working together here. So at some point in time, these guys became brothers. I mean, the black guys were learning Spanish and the Latinos were learning English, and we were crossing hamburgers with tortillas. It was a fun thing. It was a fun thing, and I still miss all those guys, and I wish I could have them back.
Every now and then when we need something done, they'll come to our rescue.
That's right.
Seriously good people.
But Raul, we know that you did a lot of the work yourself. And so one of our viewers has asked, are you self-taught or do you have a background in construction or craftsman, masonry, historic preservation?
No. The thing is that at some point in time in one of my previous lives, after I retired from a major, like I said, multinational in Latin America, we bought restaurants. So Liz and I owned the franchise for Tony Ramos together with some friends in Venezuela. And my job with that group was to build the restaurants. So I would buy an old house, and convert it into a restaurant. So that came that's why we have a commercial kitchen, because that came natural to me in the commercial kitchens. So I have that background that was able to take an old house and convert it to a restaurant. So it's very much like we did here, but difference is that, a restaurant, you make a 21st century restaurant. So you buy everything at Home Depot and everything is quick and fast. This was not. This was a restoration. I had to do it from zero. I had to, to reimagine how a jail was like and use all the materials that I was able to get from the building itself, reuse them and make it look like a place that has never been touched. To the point that we have officers that served here that have come in, and I said, Raul, that reception back there I showed you, they would stand there and said, this reception was here, I remember. And I built that reception. And I said, well, yeah, it was here, but it was in different areas, it was in parks. But that's the idea. The idea is when people come in, that they would think that I have not done anything, that I just clean up the place and put it in here. That's the idea. And I think somehow we have been able to accomplish that.
Absolutely. There's one question left, and it's, well, I know the answer to this. Did you get the historic restoration tax credit? Did you ever consider that?
Yes, we did.
We did do that.
We did do that, but remember, I worked with people, and most of my expenses were labor expenses. So I worked with people that I had to pay cash, and that cannot be traced. So a lot of my money, the money that I invested out of my pocket to pay for the restoration of the place, in labor to the guys, the undocumented and the ex-jail convicts, was cash, and they would not accept that, a receipt. So a lot of that money I could not get back from the tax credits. But everything else, the materials, the subcontractors that I would pay and give me a receipt, yes, I could use it for that. But a lot of the money was never gotten back.
I did all those. I did all the before and after photos. We actually hired someone in the beginning, and like a month later, he left the state. So that got dropped on my lap. If you are considering doing it, it is well worth doing.
Yes,
Not even being able to get back everything that we had invested, not a problem. It's well worth the work. But what I would do if I had to do this again, and I hope I never do, is make sure you know what you're doing up front.
Yeah.
Keep excellent records. Keep all your receipts. One of the most precious memories I have of the completed job, because my job was all the work he didn't want. The bookkeeping, the code enforcement, trying to keep the workers returning with their temperaments, and the tax credits. It's a lot of work.
But it's worth it. It is worth
But
it.
it is well worth it. And I'm going to put a little plug in for the PRC. You guys helped us so much.
Yes.
You helped direct us in the right direction, and you helped us understand where to look for the information we needed. So I do want to thank you guys so much for that.
As a matter of fact, some of the very first people that we met is you, Danielle, when we came here to the States, back to the States after so many years in Latin America. You were one of the very first people we met, and we learned a lot from you.
Because of this building.
And it was because of this building. We learned a lot. That class that you guys have, restoration and renovations and things like that, we learned a lot there. And also, let me tell you, we made some good contacts there, because one of the guys that came to for a few hours with us was the head of the what do you call permits in in the city, and we got to spend time with them, and we learned a lot. So we got to, like Liz says, we thank you very much for being there.
Well, the honor is truly ours, Liz and Raul. Thank you so much. You all are an inspiration. Your work is incredible, and our city has been blessed by you. So thank you for everything that y'all do. Thank you for hosting us tonight. We're really grateful to you. And I hope that everyone tonight here will come and see the inn yourself, stay, enjoy a weekend with Liz and Raul. Send your friends and family there. Liz and Raul, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you guys for visiting with us.
We'd love to have you visit. Thank you so much.
Well, thanks again, everyone, for joining tonight. I have a special treat for those of you who have stuck through with us this whole time. So our friends at the Higgins Hotel, which, as you know, is the new hotel down at the World War II Museum, are offering a special coupon to all of you who have joined us tonight for the PRC's virtual tour. You will get 25% off your meal at Rosie's on the Roof, which is their rooftop restaurant. You can go enjoy, socially distance yourselves and enjoy a meal out. So if you are interested in a coupon to dine at Rosie's on the Roof, just email us, prc@prcno.org, and we will send you the coupon via email. Thank you again to Liz and Raul for an amazing tour of the Inn at the Old Jail. Thank you to all of you who've tuned in tonight for your great questions and comments. Liz and Raul, you have lots and lots of fans.
And anytime,
commenting with things just like, wow, that's beautiful.
Yeah,
lots of great compliments. Sorry, go ahead, Raul.
Anytime that people from New Orleans or anybody that lives close by can stop by and we'll give them the grand tour. We love to have
it. Nice. That's so nice. Thank you so much. All of you who are watching who are not yet members, please consider joining the Preservation Resource Center as a member. Your donation and your membership helps us do what we do to save New Orleans' historic architecture, neighborhoods, and cultural identity, and bring you wonderful tours like tonight's tour with Liz and Raul. So please consider joining at our website, prcno.org. Thanks again, everyone, for joining. I look forward to seeing you this Sunday night for our next Shotgun House Tour, Shotgun Sunday. We're going to the Coast Roast CR Coffee Shop on Magazine Street to see how a shotgun house can be turned into a coffee shop, and talk with the owner, Kevin, about small business life in the time of a pandemic, and how things are going on Magazine Street, how things are going for him as a local small business owner. It's going to be a wonderful time. So I hope you'll join us this upcoming Sunday night at 4 p.m. Thanks again to all of our sponsors and members. Thanks for everyone for joining. Thanks, Liz and Raul. Everyone have a great night.